welcome everybody for this short presentation of what's new in the new release. We'll be talking about, so in this release we have some stuff for users, for administrators, for developers. So it's quite a mix. And I prepared for each topic, I have a little slide, so I will explain things about it and then leave each time a little time for questions if you have any, and yeah, then go slide by slide. And of course, in the end, if any question pops up afterwards, then of course I hope we'll have some time to give you some answers. So the first things that we've made is we call it usability enhancements. It's about speed, and it's about some things in within the layout that we've changed. We made a little video just to present the changes, but I'd like to go through them with you. So that's my instance. The first thing that you'll notice is keep me logged in button. That's a new functionality. So what it does is, so I log in, and sometimes you open the CRM in another tab, and now you're automatically logged in. So when you have pushed this login, keep me logged in button, then you can have multiple tabs and you're automatically logged in the other tab. So previously you had to log in again. So that's a new feature. So what we also did is we have here when you work on your laptop, or if you have a smaller screen, so then you can remove part of the design. So you can use these clicks just to gain some space. What we also have is when the page is loading, when you look at the line over here, when you open an account, so it's now like a progress bar. So when you're in the end, then the full record is loaded. Not sure if you could see it because it was maybe too fast, but yeah. Okay. So these are some little enhancements that we have. What do we do also when you are in a list view? You now see on columns that are sortable this icon, so that you can recognize where it's possible to use the sort function. So, and something we did that maybe doesn't, maybe it's not obvious when you use the system, but so when you are in a list, and for example, you are in all accounts, and you switch to my accounts, and in between, it's not, I said a little too fast here. What we did is when you load a list, you start, and then you want to switch right away, then you can do it now. So the system will no longer wait until the first list is loaded. It will load the next one. Same thing when you change here the view. If I go to Google Maps view and say, oh no, I wanted to remain in the table view, then the switch is now faster because we cancel the first request so that the front end can load the next page. So these are little enhancements that will hopefully make the users happy and the whole thing a little faster, especially switching lists, or when you're typing and you are looking for an account. So now there is also, the system will cancel in the background on each after 3 jars. There is already a request that is sent to the background. But if you are still typing, then the requests sent are cancelled and only the last one will arrive. So that's something that we built in this release. So the whole speed of the thing, so when it's a little instance, it's just a little demo instance, but when you log in, It's also faster than it used to be. This is due to caching improvements. So about caching, I have a known slide so that I can give you some technical details about it. But that's also one of the improvements that we've made. All right. Any question about these usability enhancements? Good. Then we'll go with the next topic. We added MySQL8 support. So now you can, when you set up the database for your SpiceCRM, you can use MySQL8. That's hopefully good news. And we also added the ElasticSearch8 support. And coming with the ElasticSearch8 support, we have that's the screenshot of the installation screen that you probably recognize. And we have some additional parameters that you can now set. So we took the opportunity to improve a little bit these configuration settings. So you can, so the HTTPS was already here. It just looked, it was a different type of field, but now it looks like this. You can also check if you want SSL to be verified. And you can now add a username and password for the connection to the Elasticsearch server. So these are two. It's optional, so you don't have to do it, but you may if you want to. It works for sure with ElasticSearch8. Under 7, it should work too, but we didn't test it. Just for you to know. So these are the enhancements. And since we have made some changes here in this layout, and I don't remember in which one during the installation, we also have an update of the installation guide that you'll find on SpiceCRM.com. We'll send you the slides, so you'll have the link, the direct link to download it if you need it. So regarding a migration, when I say I migrate from a MySQL 5.6 to MySQL8, we didn't encounter any problems. So we we tested with a database which has like 60 gigabyte data, and we moved the database to a MySQL8, and then we installed the SpiceCRM of the customer, and it was okay. So we didn't encounter any database problem during migration. For Elasticsearch, since we moved the server, so if you can make an upgrade from Elastic 7 to 8, good. So technically, it might be a little tricky to be able to do it. We chose the solution to say we changed the server. So the instance that we had on Elastic 7, we said now the server is on the server where we have the ElasticSearch8, and then we had to reindex all the data. Yeah, but it was working. So the compatibility with 7 is still given. And if you move to Elastic 8, I think it's better to have a dedicated server for ElasticSearch8, because upgrading a 7 is not that easy. So you can check on the Elasticsearch website. They have some guidance there, but we didn't manage using the guidance. Maybe you have more luck, or you do as we do, specific server, and that's it. Questions about this improvement? Okay. So the caching. So when we talk about caching, so those who have been knowing SpiceCRM longer, might remember that we have under API this cache folder, which used to contain, a summary of all variable definitions in the system for each module. So last year we removed it. We removed that kind of cache, and now we reintroduced file caching, but we just coded it in another way. So what it means is during setup, the cache folder will be created under API. And per default, the system will create files. Maybe I will open an example that you see. You can see things. So that's on an instance. It's maybe a little easier to read. So under cache, there will be these cache files, and they correspond to variable definitions. They correspond to all the layout definitions, and all the settings for the system. So I go back to so that you can see. So we have, in order to be able to see that cache, so first of all, there are settings that you can modify. Under general settings, in there we have a panel for cache. So that's the default configuration, because there are other cache types. We have been doing using and testing with file with the others. I cannot tell how it works. I heard it works, but I haven't used them. So that's the standard. That's the location. So you could also create your own location. Not your own location, but say I want to use on the server from the Apache server, the system temp directory, for example, or you use the one within the CRM. So you saw, going back to, that's a list. So we have a list of files with IDs. They have IDs so that the name remains short. That's the reason. And if you want to see, because sometimes when you are a developer and you are debugging and you just want to see what is the content of that file, because now since we have these files, when you log into the system, all these files are read and all the configuration is taken from those files. When you debug, you can say, I'd like to see, give me a transparent file name so that I can see what the file contains according to the name. So saving here, and I will, or I can do it from here when you are an administrator. I will just reset the cache, so it will just remove the cache files, reload the configuration. Since we reload, then the cache files are created on the fly when they are needed. So I will see, you have a little more here. So I created, and now we have some names that we can read. Of course, there are technical here languages. So in that file, what you have in there is a serialized array with all the labels and the translations in English, for example. So that's what you have for metadata tables. Somewhere you should have some about relationships. All the information is contained in those files. So that's about the caching. You can also say, I don't want any caching, but then you lose performance. If you have installations that have a load balancer, so meaning you have the system, you have two Apache servers, and you have a load balancer just guiding the user to the one or to the other server, depending on the traffic, then you should set the cache folder as a shared, mount a shared folder, so that there is only one place where we have those cache files. It's same for upload and media, so that there is only one location for these folders. So the caching brings really speed. You can then compare if you want using the disabling cache. So the cache viewer in the workbench is there just to display the list of the files so that you don't have to connect to the Apache server directly. And you have here a little view. So what's inside? You'll find a string with it's a definition. In that case, it's about a link, or you have some. What do we have? That one, languages. We saw it already, so you can open them and see a little bit what's in there. And this is the configuration that you'll find in these files is the one currently loaded by the system. That's why it's interesting to be able to see what's in there when something doesn't look like you want it to have. So, for example, if you make some customizations on layout, you create some. Okay, I already have some custom header here. I'm not sure if it's linked, but let's say so you change things and you save, then you'll have to recreate the cache for the file cache. So meaning you'll push again a reset and reload, because this configuration is now also included in these cached files. Any questions about file caching? Okay. So moving to the workbench. So I already showed a little bit about the cache viewer. And we introduced two other managers. I think should make the work of administrators a little easier. You know all about these layout roles. So what's the thing here, right? Or marketing, or all those things that are here that you can have some custom ones. And until this version, you had to make the insert directly in the database. So now we have a manager displaying. So when you see the Earth, that's a global, meaning that's from the system itself, delivered with that configuration. And the ones with the contact icon is a custom one. These are the same icons that you find when you are in field sets, for example. It should be the same when you're somewhere that you see. Okay, it's not the same Earth, but this means this is a from the system a configuration. Okay, don't have any over there. So that's the custom. So it's almost the same icons, and you can create your own role. That is here already an example, a guest role, and then add here are the list of the modules, as you can see in the main navigation. So now you can just simply select the module that you want to have. And you can also move using drag and drop for the order of the modules. So that's the role menu manager. So it's you no longer need to go to the sys custom roles and custom role modules tables and make the entries. You can use this interface. We did the same thing with logic hooks. The hook manager. So when these are our same icons, so these are system hooks, and you can create custom hooks. So this is more for developers, because when you have a custom hook, then you have some coding involved. So that you create, that's for custom, and for which module is it, and which event is it. So all the things that you had to enter manually in the database in the specific table for custom hooks, you can now enter here. And when you have a class, then enter, full path of the class. So I didn't prepare an example here. Then select the method. Just tell what kind of version or your custom package, and then add the entry. So of course, when you have hooks here, then they are active. So that's the activation click here. In that case, I will deactivate. Win some labor. I'll deactivate or I activate. So that's the same click, just the color is changing. And so that they are really active, you always have to log out and then log in again, so that the call is made, that your hook is called. It used to be so, and it's still so. So that's the hook manager. So two interfaces in the workbench, two additional interfaces. And the one that you'll, as a developer, very often use is, when you have new module or you have additional variables, and then you do this repair database. So that's where, until now, where you went there because you have to make an upgrade of the database table columns and the cache and so on. So we moved this area. So we kept a little information in there so that you can, because I still have the habit that I write repair here instead of what now is important, it's dictionary. So that's something. So when I want to repair the database, meaning comparing my table definitions with the tables that I have in the database, I go to dictionary and I use the repair database button. So when I click, and there is this comparison between all definitions and the current state within the database. Okay, there is one here. So after you've done that, so your database is up to date, then you used to have a repair cache button under repair database. Now it's repair cache from the dictionary. This click checks all the definitions and makes a summary of them. Maybe I'll show, or is it in this example? Just for, it's technical information, but for developers. So when I say repair cache, then all variable definitions are summarized within this sys dictionary fields table. And for the relationships, because these definitions are stored somewhere else, for the relationships, there is the relationships table, and it's the same here. There is an update of all the contents. So these two tables are what we call the database cache. Maybe it's not the right word, but there is a summary of all the information, all the variable configurations. So when you have processed here, when you have pushed and it's done, then in order for these configurations that are stored in those two tables to have them available for the system, if you are using the file cache, then you click here, reset and reload. So the reset will just remove the cache files and then create new ones. Not all of them, but the ones that are needed. And then the rest will be created on the fly. And the reload replaces this button here. So this button reloads the whole system configuration using the cache files. So this means currently the steps when you have introduce a custom variable. It's repair database, repair cache, and then you do a reset and reload. These are 3 steps that you currently need to do. Any questions about the changes in the workbench?
So I've got one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I would like to ask you about one bug that happened in the recent versions of Spice. It's regarding to making an input required. So if you wanted to make an input required, you need to go to a dictionary manager and then to items tab and click the required checkbox.
Mm-hmm. Would be that one. Yes.
Yeah. All right, but it didn't work. So when you tick that the checkbox, I think it didn't register it in the database.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it didn't switch the input to required. Was it fixed or not?
Yes, it was fixed, so it should work now.
All right, and I've got the second question. Okay, so as you were presenting the new features and clicking the save buttons, and there were pop-ups appearing. Will they be customizable, maybe, or something? Because now, like the background of the toast is green and the icon is red, and the contrast isn't quite eye-catching.
So you have the CI manager, the corporate identity manager, where you can change some colors. I guess that for the toast, that would be that one. So you can change colors.
And for the icon in the toast, or maybe when you have the login picture, I mean the profile picture on the right top, it's red on gray. Can it be customizable?
But you can first of all you can load your own picture. So if you have, if the user has a picture, then they can load it. And for that display, so I guess the red is probably one of the brand primary, probably.
Like it was better, in my opinion, when it was white before.
Yeah, that's because I think it's a mix of all these classes here. So for the red, there is the brand primary, and maybe it switched to the primary. I know that for the toast, so it started after some after an update of Lightning Design. We haven't had a look yet on on specifically on that one. I agree with you. It was nicer when it was white, or when you have an error toast that it's not like red, because it doesn't look nice, even for an error. But regarding coloring, it's all in there, what you can customize. And if we decide to have a look at that part, I don't know where exactly it is rendered, but okay, there is an icon and there is some stuff, and there is some that we say that we switch which class we want to apply, because right now it's probably well, we can try out. Oh, where are the colors? Okay, let's take that one and see if it's that one. So you see it's for these lines, that's the primary brand, but for here,
isn't it text error?
I have no idea. I'm just clicking.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe that when I need to reload the page. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
So, yes. Okay, it's not the. Let's see. Maybe I have to. Maybe the colors are also somewhere in here, or I really have to log out and relog in. Never played with the CI manager. Just just the brand. The only color I've changed. Let's see. Doesn't look like. At least that should have been another color. So for now, it's not, let's say, what appears over the, it's not customizable itself. You can only have some influence switching the colors from these classes. And of course, it's not that easy to recognize which class is now where. So I know for the brand primary that it's that one, because it's the one that I change for customers. What I change for customers is just, icons and login icon and this color here. I don't do more for installations. But it appears that it's not stored properly because
Yes,
it didn't, or I didn't save, but I thought I would have saved because, but let's see. Maybe there will be some hotfix again.
thank you.
All right, thanks. Just wanted to let you know.
Okay. So, so these are all the changes we've made. We are also regarding deployment, deployment strategy, because for now you have your instance and then, okay, you pull files and you try your best using the documentation on SpiceCRM.com about the change requests that were made, about breaking changes that we document. Just for those who don't know where to find what, so we have for each release, and I think we started from last release. So you have presentation and what's new and what's going on, and then you have all the release notes. So, and then further down, you'll find all breaking changes. Where sometimes you need just to add some fields into a table because it's a system table and it has changes, and you need to add columns before you can log in. That kind of stuff, or you have to reload a package. Or so the description is always here. We also now have an area with deprecation. That's also interesting to read. So for example, this repair database in the workbench is deprecated. So in next release, we will remove the click. Yes, so some descriptions, or that we started to set some functions deprecated so that you can now start to check in customizations, do I use them? And if yes, then move to the new name. Okay. So and that's it for now. So there is no specifically when I want to move from a system to the next and I want to take with me configurations. We have some tools that we can use to help us. I'm not sure if everybody knows about the when you have the package system deployment, you have a module called change requests, and so you can do change requests and make a description and what is it about, and when you activate it, and then you do some field set configuration, for example. Just going back here and adding a field. saving it. So when you do some other field sets and component sets and whatsoever, and when I think any click I do is registered by the system, and I have all the SQLs I need. That's maybe someone did test it already, because these are the two I made, and we have others. So they probably someone tested it earlier. So, and then you can export all the SQLs regarding this change request. So that's a way, you pack changes, all this SQL stuff, and for now you can copy it, and then you can run it in the next database. And what we have been prepared for this release is, so this change request functionality with Activate is still available. And what we now can do is prepare, because our goal is to say, I have a landscape. So I have like a classic one, it's a little system. I have my development server, I have my test server, and I have my production environment. So when I'm preparing something here, I want to be able, when I'm on the test system, to see what's new. Did you create anything new? So meaning on that system, I will be able to create a deployment package or multiple deployment packages that are containing those change requests with their SQLs. And I'll be able to see which are they. Are they ready for me as test environment to retrieve them? So I will be able to load them. Then to decide, yes, I want to install them on my test environment. Then see if everything is okay. If I have problems, I can make a rollback. And if it's okay, then I can say, good, testing is all right. So all the packages that I loaded from the master, from the dev environment, I make them available now for the production environment. And then it's the same thing. So we connect the systems, and I can have a look which are the packages that I can have. I can load them, I can install them all, or just two of them. And in case of a problem, I can make some rollback. So that's what we prepared, and we will be testing this in until next release with customer instances. I had at the time, because we have a presentation video for this, to see where do you click, what do you open, how do you make the setup within the CRM. The video is not ready yet, but as soon as it is ready, then you'll be informed via email, so that you can have a look at what to expect then in the next steps. So that's just a little try to explain what we are doing regarding deployment, and make it easier to know what do I have on my test system when I load packages. Any questions? Maybe too early on that part. Okay. So we've talked about what's new in this release, and just to give you a little, for the future, we'll make a little correction here. So for the next release, what we want to bring out is a full support for the dictionary manager. So it will be, that's what we want to do. So meaning all the interface that will be, it will still be like dictionary and domain manager, but it will be a little easier when you use it, so that you don't have to, to hit that save button. Think of it all the time to hit it. So we will have some automation and some checks We will have an improvement of how to use the relationship area here to build relationship between modules, because for now it just it's not working. It's, let's say, maybe 80% is working, but it's not, you cannot do everything with it. So we're still working on it. And then you'll have, for the repair, you also have like visualizing when you repair the whole thing, which table is being repaired right now. Do I have problems? Which are they? So that you can see the number of the columns. Are they all okay? Or do I have an older one? Do I have any problem during creating the column, so that you can have a better overview when there are some errors during the repair. So that's why there is only, let's say, this main, where is it? Here. I lost my presentation. Okay, never mind. I have another one. So that's the focus on the dictionary manager. And then we'll tell you about our tests, about the deployment landscape thing. So what I tried to explain theoretically in the slide before, in the previous slide, and just talk about if it's working, then what it does and how it can simplify the life when you are moving from development to test and to prod environment. Of course, some file cleaning. We still find old code that we want to kill. So these are the goals for the next release.